forget you, I forget to remember all you've done. But when I'm broken and when I've chosen to hide and to run, where can I go? 'Cause even when the darkness covers me, I settle on the far side of the sea. No matter what I do, I can't outrun your love. No, I can't outrun your love. In the shadow, in the sadness, Holy Spirit, come. Won't you rise up like a promise on the wings of dawn? You know my heart. Even when the darkness covers me, I settle on the far side of the sea. No matter what I do, I can't outrun your love. No, I can't outrun your love. You have your hand upon me, your spirit lives within me, and you will never let me go. I know your word will guide me, I know your arms will hold me, and you will never leave me. No, I can't outrun you. Even when the darkness covers me, I settle on the far side of the sea. No matter what I do, I can't outrun your love. No, I can't outrun your love. No, I can't outrun your love.
How come love was simpler when I could barely stand? Worrying was harder when I had to hold your hand. 'Cause my 2 feet hadn't yet learned how to walk. My own voice hadn't yet come out to talk. But I knew love because I knew you. And I believe that everything you told me would come out true. Love is patient, love is kind. Love delights in the truth and is all you need to find. But as I grew older, I learned to complicate things you made so simple, and I did some things I hate. And I became so afraid of making mistakes. 'Cause one heartful is all that it takes to make you question the man you thought you'd be. I began to question the bright things you see in me. Love is patient, love is kind. Love doesn't keep a record of what's behind. I've heard my strength comes from your joy. Maybe that's why I felt stronger when I was a boy. Maybe I grew up too fast, or maybe I never did. But I learned to bury and chain it. From you I ran and hid. You know I wanna finish strong, but I'm having trouble at the start. And I've forgotten where to dig to unearth my beating heart. Love is patient, love is kind. Love revives the heart and transforms the mind.
You'll never look into the eyes of somebody Jesus doesn't love. I didn't ever know what love was. I looked for it my whole life.
I had been in an abusive relationship and had been contemplating suicide for quite a while.
I had a wonderful wife of 12 years, and I lost her in a car accident. When that happened, I lost my job. I turned away from the Lord, and I turned to drugs and alcohol.
I relapsed on methamphetamine, and it only took 18 months for me to lose everything that I had.
I was losing my house. I'd already lost my job. I went to my mother's house to let her know, and I said, well, I'm going to need a place to stay. And she said, well, you can't stay here, and just closed the door. So I ended up on the street.
I tried to do anything just to make me happy, and nothing made me happy. And no matter how much blow I did, how much weed I smoked, how many pills I dropped, nothing made me happy.
I wouldn't let any love get out or let any love in because I just didn't feel like I was worth it.
I really didn't have love or felt love.
Who would want to love somebody that couldn't even love themselves?
It feels really inhuman, the way sometimes people look at you when you walk by.
I absolutely felt like I was unworthy of being loved. I didn't think I had anything to offer anybody.
When I walked through the doors at City Rescue Mission, I knew I was home. That was the step, the one step that made the difference in my life.
As soon as I walked in the door, everyone there just greeted me with love and acceptance. Everyone just took you as you were. They loved you as you were, where you were.
I walked in and it was just the weight of everything I'd been carrying was just going away. For the first time in a very long time, I knew where I was going to sleep at night.
You have your classes. Of course, they give you 3 meals a day, warm bed to sleep in. But more than anything, it's just the support.
They listen, they understand. You can do this, just do it. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's what I learned at the City Rescue Mission.
They weren't just case managers, they were friends, they were people. And they understood that it takes people to help people.
I was having a hard time as a client. We were in devotion, and I sat and I cried through the whole thing. And Amanda, she came up to me, and she grabbed my face, and she told me she loved me. I have never had friendship like that in my life.
They believe in second shots, and that's where the love comes in, I think.
Who knows where I would be today without the love that the City Rescue Mission showed me. It turned my life around.
I don't know where I would be right now without City Rescue Mission. I don't know. I'd probably be dead.
It's changed my life for the better, me personally, but it's also changed my family's life because I'm back involved with my kids, my mother, my brothers.
No one can tell you you can't start over. I started over. I'm happy right now. And a lot of people can't say that.
They teach you that Jesus loves you right where you are, right in that brokenness. I was lost. I was found at City Rescue. I found who Crystal is.
When you have addiction, grief, or guilt or shame, it's like chains that hold you down. God's love breaks those chains and it gives you the freedom.
That love will tear down that wall. That love will conquer that wall. It will climb that wall. It will just blow that wall completely away.
Love is the only way to change a person's life.
Love to me is doing something for someone that can't do anything for you in return.
Love, it's everything.
Love means hope.
Love is time and love is patience.
Love is kind.
Love is protecting.
Being loved gives you the freedom to be happy.
Love just means that I'm wanted and I feel like I'm wanted.
Without love, there's no chance. Whether they think they do or not, whether they think they're worthy of love or not, everybody deserves love because everybody deserves a chance.
Good evening, everyone. I am so pleased to get to welcome you to the 2020 Mission of Hope Gala. virtually. For over 20 years, friends and family of City Rescue Mission have come together in the same room to celebrate what God has done in the lives of those that we serve. Mission of Hope provides all of us an opportunity to support our mission financially and funds our ability to better serve our clients all year. With that in mind, it was incredibly important to us at City Rescue Mission for our clients and for you, our supporters, to get together, even virtually, to share what God is doing at City Rescue Mission. Now you're in for a real treat with our keynote speaker, Bob Goff, in our entertainment portion of the evening with Oklahoma City sweetheart and America's Got Talent winner, Darcy Lynn. Please check out our silent auction items as well, especially the one-of-a-kind artwork produced by friends of the mission and signed by Bob Goff himself. This is a fantastic opportunity to love our clients through your giving. But beyond raising funds, this evening has the chance to inspire us all to continue to love everyone at City Rescue Mission and beyond. Thank you again for your support and for joining us tonight, and welcome to the 2020 Mission of Hope Gala.
Thank you for being a part and being one of those folks that's going to love everybody, always. We're grateful for people that engage to be able to help the least of these and to be able to see each other as human beings, as people in need of God's affection and of a moment to be able to have someone wrap their arms around them. So thanks for being that person, to be able to love that way. Let's pray together and let's start the evening. Father, thank you for the way that you do provide for us, that you've poured your affection on us. All of our challenges and all of our imperfections, all of our things that we wish were different in our own lives, you have seen us as someone that is worthy of love. And we are so grateful for that. Help us to be able to live that kind of mercy. Help us to be able to love much because we have been loved much. Help us to be able to walk alongside people as you do. Jesus, you set such an incredible example of looking people in the eye and seeing who they were and who they would become. Help us to live that way and to be able to walk in your way. Jesus, thank you for the way that you have provided, and thank you for the way that you have guided us into what is good and right. We're grateful for that. So remind us how to live in the days ahead. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
When we were founded to show the love of Christ to anyone who needs it. And we've maintained true to that foundation. And we love everybody always. We are not discriminatory at all. We don't care what your religion is, what your color is, what your sexual orientation is. Our job is to love you judgment-free and help you however you need it. 60 years ago, we were founded by a group of Christian business leaders in the Oklahoma City area that saw a need for homeless services. And we started off as a soup kitchen. And I think they had 24 cots maybe, and they would call it soup, soap, and salvation. And so as time went on, they realized that was not the only thing that they needed to transform lives. And so we've started adding programs through the times and adapting to change. And today we provide so much more. We provide an end to their homelessness. City Rescue Mission is a shelter that provides services to meet the needs of the homeless. And in our community, we're there to adapt quickly and make changes so that we can serve the community's needs and the homeless's needs efficiently and effectively. Everybody becomes homeless for very different reasons. Some could have drug or alcohol addictions. Some could have just lost a job. So it's just life-changing circumstances that no one can predict and no one expects. Many of them have come from abusive families or foster care and home lives that most of us could never imagine. And they've never experienced an unconditional, judgment-free love. And at City Rescue Mission, that's what we want to provide. We want them to know that we love them no matter what their mistakes are. We don't look at that past. We look at their future and how amazing and bright and glorious it can be. It's really hard for a person to focus or repair their spiritual needs when they're hungry, when they're cold, when they're not safe. So our immediate goal is to provide them food, nutrition, make sure they're healthy, make sure they have a safe, warm place to live. And then you can watch the spiritual transformation happen. You don't have to force them to church or force them to Bible study for them to start feeling and seeing the love of Christ in their lives. So City Rescue Mission, we offer case management when they walk in the door, and our case managers sit down and we determine what it is that caused your homelessness and what steps we can take to help you solve that and end your homelessness. And so every individual has their own case plan that they're following, and none are alike. We have a program for almost everybody. We start off with your short term. If you just need safe temporary housing, we're that facility for you. We will provide safe temporary housing while you're waiting on your housing voucher or whatever you need. But a lot of times during that immediate crisis, they realize they need much more than that. They need much more than just a 2-week stay at a shelter. And so we have other programs. We have our vocational program. If you have somebody who just needs a job or needs vocational training that are going to school, we will provide that safe housing while they're working on bettering themselves. And then we have a recovery program. That recovery program is for anybody that's experiencing an addiction to drugs, gambling, alcohol, or just a new way of thinking. We have that program that helps kind of retrain their skills so that they'll be more self-sufficient when they leave. And then specialized services program, we have a lot of increased elderly that can't afford housing or were in a housing situation where they were being taken advantage of and abused. And so we have a program for them that we will keep them there, keep them safe until we can find a more suitable living environment for them. So when COVID-19 started, we had almost 500 people living in our shelters. It's virtually impossible to socially distance 500 people. So we decided quickly that we had to move people into housing to be able to effectively socially distance people. So we've cut our capacity down. We're serving about 200 a night, but we've housed almost 200 people as well. If you're a homeless individual and you have nowhere to live, if you test positive for COVID-19, you have no safe place to socially isolate. So they were going back out into camps, back into congregate living facilities, and as contagious as this disease is, it spreads quickly. So City Rescue Mission, we are the largest homeless shelter in the region of the United States, so we decided that it was more feasible for us to set apart part of our facility to help serve those. So we do have a COVID positive wing, or 2 wings now. We have staffed them with nursing staff, and so they're a safe place for the homeless to isolate during this time period. It's accessed by the hospitals, other shelters. Fortunately, none of our own clients have had to access it, but we know it's probably only a matter of time. We want to meet the needs of everybody that comes through our doors. We're not state funded, we're not federally funded, we don't even have city dollars, and so every dollar that comes in essentially transforms a life, whether it's just somebody who is COVID positive, to somebody who needs a house, to a drug addict that needs recovery, or somebody just needs a job. Every dollar comes in, transforms a life. It makes a difference. The prayers, the volunteers, the financial support, it's impacting hundreds of thousands of lives every year. Last year alone, we served 5,000 unique individuals. Donors are changing lives that are not the same lives they changed last month or the month before. It's a continual cycle of new individuals that need help, and without them, City Rescue Mission wouldn't be here. It's important to so many thousands of lives that's been changed over the past 60 years.
On behalf of the entire Board of Directors for City Rescue Mission, I'd like to personally thank you for your support of our event tonight. Your support allows us to love everyone, always in our city. Our board would also like to thank our dedicated staff who work continuously, day in and day out, to be the hands and feet of Christ to all that we serve. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you to the clients and staff that participated in our videos this evening. We are grateful that you were willing to share your powerful stories of life transformation. And last but not least, thank you to all of our sponsors who give so generously and support this event and support our mission throughout the year. We'd like to give you a chance to hear from them personally and why they continue to be faithful supporters of City Rescue Mission.
Our roots actually go back to 1910. So it's been an incredible journey to watch us grow from a small Oklahoma bank to one of the top 25 national banks. We really want to give back and allow our employees to give back to those that are in need. City Rescue Mission has been at the top of that list for a long, long time. I would just encourage any of the other company CEOs that are out there, take a tour, and I think that you will be smitten just seeing the lives that are transformed, getting to visit with them and hear their testimonies. I think that you will really want to get you and your team involved.
We are a church that seeks to make disciples. We've been in a mission partnership with City Rescue for well over a decade. We had a serve day here where people brought items to give to City Rescue Mission. We were able to also give a check for $20,000. We want to invest those dollars in things that build up Christ's kingdom. And City Rescue Mission does that. They try to give them Jesus. To have that dualistic approach, I think, is just a powerful way to change lives and to proclaim the kingdom.
Jasco is a family-owned consumer electronics company based here in Oklahoma City. When Jasco had pledged $1 million to help fight COVID-19, definitely City Rescue Mission was in that very short list. We know it's a very reputable ministry in what they're doing. We love the fact that they are faith-based, and I mean, that just to us feels like, hey, it's making a big difference and it's moving people further along where they're at a better place today than they were yesterday.
Lippert Brothers has been a supporter of the City Rescue Mission now for probably more than a decade. Their mission is to help others, the less fortunate people within our community, and it's something that we feel strongly about supporting. We know the benefit that their clients receive from their services. From each dollar that you can give to the City Rescue, think about how many people those dollars can help.
Pumps of Oklahoma is a wholesale pump supply company providing irrigation pumps and water well pumps and industrial pumps.
City Rescue is in our neighborhood. I just love their whole person approach. And so we feel like it's important to support. You can't put a value on a life that's been restored. We've seen that happen through the years over and over.
Vision Source. We've been a practice in the area since 1962 and have a network of Vision Source practices. We have tried to give to different organizations, and we felt City Rescue Mission was something that provided a service we could not provide.
And I really love the education component, that we're here to help you through the night, but we want to help you not have nights where you need this much help.
I would highly recommend to look at a donation to City Rescue Mission.
Hobby Lobby is a hobbies, arts, crafts, home decor retail store based here in Oklahoma City with stores across the U.S. It's our honor to partner with City Rescue Mission. We see them as just an advocate for our family members who are on the streets, who have suffered hard things in their lives. It's our honor to champion them so that every person in our city has an opportunity to flourish.
And now for our keynote presentation. New York Times best-selling author, speaker, and an encourager to millions of people around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Goff.
Hey, City Rescue Mission of Oklahoma City, it's Bob Goff here. I'm so delighted to be part of your virtual event on your 60th anniversary. Boy, think how many people's lives have been touched because you've shown up in their life in really authentic, beautiful ways. There's a great verse in the scriptures. It's Paul writing about his buddy Timothy. And this is what he says: I don't have anybody like Timothy. He's a guy who takes a genuine interest in the people around him. I'm telling you, by supporting the City Rescue Mission, that's what you're doing. You're taking a genuine interest in the people around you. And here's the craziest part: they won't even know your name. I think Jesus, when he met a lawyer like me, and he said, what's the big commandment? He said, well, actually, I got two of them for you. The first one is to love God with your heart, soul, and mind. And the second one is just about the same as that: love your neighbor. And every time you participate in this beautiful expression of God's love in Oklahoma City, that's what you're doing. You're loving your neighbor. You're expressing a genuine interest in somebody's well-being. I got invited from some guys back in Washington, D.C. to come help them solve this dispute that they had. It didn't work, as you read. But I was going back and forth, and this one guy had an airplane, of all things, and I thought we were going to land at Dulles, and the plane turned, and we landed at this base that's like off the map. You know what? It's where they put all the creepy cameras in the spy planes. I'm like, who are you people? And he said, do you want me to blow your mind? I'm like, buddy, I've got nothing left. And he opens up this big hangar door, and inside is the original Air Force One. He's rebuilding it just because he can. I'm like, buddy, you've got too much cash. And we were sitting around this table, and these guys are arguing with each other. And the guy next to me gets out his cell phone. He hands it to me, and there's a message in it. And it says, do you know who Bob Goff is? And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It turns out the message is from a guy named Greg Murtha. Greg, I had explained to me, had gotten cancer. He'd been through 100 rounds of chemotherapy. He was literally on his deathbed. And my friend texted him back. He said, Bob's sitting right next to me. And it was 30 seconds later, it dings again. It's Greg. And he said, will you ask Bob if he'll write the foreword to my book? And I'm like, oh, boy, I'd be so honored. Because, I mean, if you say no, I think a trapdoor opens, you go straight to hell. But one of the things that I don't write a lot of forewords, but I knew Greg needed one. And so I wrote back to him and I said, Greg, I'd be honored to write your foreword. And one of the things that we do is we just take an interest in the people around us, people that are in need. It was Matthew 25. It said, these are the only things we're going to talk to Jesus about when we get to heaven. I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger. I was kind of creepy and you invited me in. I was sick and you comforted me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in jail and you came. That's it. Hungry people, thirsty people, sick people, strange people, naked people, and people in jail. Those are the only things we're going to talk about forever. And so when we get a chance to reach out to somebody, I just say yes to this. It's a beautiful invitation. It's not because they have a need. It's because God said we have a need to actually express our faith and love. It's Galatians 5:6. The only thing that matters is our faith expressed in love. Isn't that awesome? Well, sadly, Greg Murtha passed away a day or two later. And he, because I had promised to do his foreword, but I'd only met Greg one time before, I went around to all of his friends. I said, tell me about Greg. Tell me about the guy that he was. And do you know what? To the last person, do you know what they said? He was a guy who took a genuine interest in the people around him. I'm telling you, let that be said of you. Let that be said of me, that we're expressing our faith and love, and we're doing it in the ways that Jesus said: hungry people, thirsty people, sick people, strange people. Now, you never know if somebody's hungry, but you can always tell if they're naked. What I want you to do is express your love like we are to the people around us. I teach at Pepperdine Law School. Could you imagine me teaching at a top-tier law school? I'm like, everybody passes the bar. But I also teach at San Quentin Penitentiary. And there's some guys there that have had some rugged run-ins with the law. They're serving a lot of time for their mistakes. That place is on lockdown. They have been for the last couple months while all of these things are unfolding around us. Do you know what? I get 2 or 3 calls every single week from guys inside San Quentin. You know why? They want to make sure I'm okay. This is a prison with the highest incidence of COVID anywhere in the world, and they're calling me to see if I'm okay. That's what it looks like. It's reaching out, not making everything about us, and instead to make it about the people around us, to say, I'm going to express my faith and love, and I'll see what happens. What people need is to just hear from you. And we can't do that, but we can send them a signal. I've got a son who's got a biplane, and foolishly, we flew out to the desert last week. It's like 120 degrees. I'm like, the asphalt is bubbling. And we landed the plane, and we got a thing, it's called vapor lock, where it's so hot that the fuel in the lines actually vaporizes. And the first indication of vapor lock, the engine stops. Now, that's okay if you're driving a Prius, but not so much in an airplane. And the way that you do this, to get past the vapor lock, you run up that engine. And that's what I want to do with my generosity. If I'm a little vapor locked by the things that are going around me, all of the uncertainty, what I want to do is, instead of shrinking back from that, I want to lean in. And that's the way Jesus talks about it. He talks about leaning into love, to do things that are up and over the top, that are actually difficult. And those are the things that he celebrates. And we left the desert. We got off the ground, and we were flying back to San Diego. And when we got into the airspace, and it's pretty busy airspace, there's Top Gun School, there's an international airport, there's a couple other airports. We turned on the radios, no radios. The heat fragged them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have no ability to communicate. And when I think about what you're doing in Oklahoma City for those in need, they actually can feel like there's just no ability to communicate their need. And that's where you come in, and you send them a couple signals. What happens when you're out of communication in an airplane? You circle about 5 miles out from the airport, and you set your transponder to 7,600. And that's a signal that says, I can't communicate. Don't get that wrong. 7,500 means I'm being hijacked. So 7,600, and you let people know, I'm having trouble communicating right now. And you know what they do in the tower? They get out a laser beam and they shoot it at you. A red means don't even think about landing, but green means you bring it on in. And I'm telling you, it was a long 15 minutes, but they shot us a green beam. One of the things that I want to do is to send to the people that are in so much need right now, to let them know we are going to run it up on our generosity. We're going to send the signal to you that you are not alone in this. It can feel like you're alone, but you are not alone in this. And the things that we do, in Matthew 25, it said, hungry, thirsty, sick, strange, naked, people in jail. Jesus ended the story by saying, you know what? It was me. Isn't that crazy? To say, like, when we're doing it for this person, we're actually doing it for him. There's a friend of mine that plays a whole bunch of music, and this friend asked me to come to his concert. And so I went to the concert, and we're sitting backstage and having this conversation. There's another guy or two there, and this one guy had just piercing blue eyes. It was just crazy. I'm like, stop looking at me. And I didn't know who he was, but we're having our conversation. Every time I glanced over them, he's like looking at me. I was like, kind of creeping me out. And so we were back there, I bet, for 30 or 45 minutes. And then we went out before the concert started and entered the arena on the side door, and people saw him and they lost their minds. Do you know what? His name is Jim Caviezel. In the movie The Passion of Christ, he's Jesus. You guys, I was in the room with Jesus for 45 minutes. I didn't even know he was there. And I'm telling you, That's the way it can be with the people that you're serving. That when we're actually serving them, it's like we're serving Jesus. The only thing that matters is faith expressed in love. And every act of selfless love is a declaration of faith. It's like you're saying, this is what I really believe to be true. Faith isn't just something that I'm generally identifying with, but that it's actually it's a way that we roll, that we actually don't just agree with a bunch of doctrines, but we actually do stuff. And the crazy part is some of the people in this environment that we're in, they're really difficult to deal with. Here's the crazy part. You're one of them. This is an intervention. You are not, and I am not, as lovely as we always think we are. And so sometimes people that have run into some difficulties and setbacks in their lives, they actually have some difficulties in their lives. But somehow love has the ability to cut through to that. And what you're doing is empowering people to speak truth and love and faith over people that are in desperate need. It's like they saw Jesus was in the room and he was expressing himself as a person that had had some significant setbacks. That's what your generosity does. It lets us know that we're taking a genuine interest in the people around us. And what we need to do is just give people truth. We need to give them the real deal. The truth about love. We don't need to have an agenda for someone else. Like I've got an agenda for me. I don't have an agenda for you. My agenda, just be available. You know what? I write books every once in a while, and I put my cell phone number in the back page of 2.5 million books. I get so many phone calls. I get 100 calls a day. It's terrific. I can't get a thing done. But one of the things that I realize is that people, when they call, I answer the phone, I say hello, and they say, Bob? And I'm like, yeah, it's Bob here. They're like, Bob? I'm like, come on. One of the things is that people just want to know it's really true. And every time you express your faith in love to people, it just lets people know it's really true. They've heard all the Chris Tomlin songs. They've gone to all the Bible studies. They just want to meet somebody like you that's taking their faith and to say, I really believe these things that Jesus is talking about. Hungry people, thirsty people, sick people, strange people, naked people, and people in jail. And these are the stories that you're going to tell for the rest of your life. And people are operating under a lot of stress. That's why they're oftentimes difficult. That's why you're difficult. That's why I'm difficult. We have all of these pressures that are on us. And what I want to do is get back to the idea of an authentic love without an agenda that isn't a program, that's just love. We just want to get back to the real deal. And when we do, people will see Jesus. There was a big moment, Simon Peter. Jesus says, so who does everybody say I am anyway? Remember that? And Simon Peter said, well, some people say you're a teacher. And he actually was. He was an awesome teacher. And he said, well, some people say you're a prophet. And he was that too. I mean, awesome prophet. But then Simon Peter said, I say you're God. And Jesus said in fewer words, you nailed it. And then the next verse, he said, don't tell anybody. Isn't that crazy? Be like, what? I think the idea is this: show people, don't tell people. And I think what we do is we show people what we actually believe is true in our life rather than telling people what we actually believe is true in our life. And the more we show people our faith expressed in love and generosity, the more we understand what it is that we're about. My daughter, when she was in high school, I told her, guys are going to come circling around and they'll want you to go to the prom with them and all that. And when they ask you out on a date, I want you to ask them this: what's your definition of love? And because they're guys, they won't know. So send them home and say, you go figure out what love is. And when you figured it out, come back and tell me what you think it is, and I'll tell you if I'll go out on a date with you. And if they come back and just say it's like butterflies, I mean, you can get that from bad pizza. Love is sacrifice and commitment. If you can understand what love is, then you can pick the lock in the lives of everyone, whether they're easy to get along with, they're low-hanging fruit, or they're actually difficult to get along with. You know who they are in your life. And what we do is we do this by evidencing the truth of what we actually believe. I went to India not long ago, and you only drink the bottled water there because the other water out of the tap, you'll be there for a while. And one of the things that you do to know if this bottled water is the original thing is you listen for the click. When you open up the top, you listen for the little click at the top. Because what they'll do is they'll dig a cistern that goes down 20 feet in a city of 20 million, and they'll take old bottled waters and they'll rebottle water and put the cap on it and sell it. And it kind of is water, but mostly isn't water. What I want you to do is listen for the click. Listen for the click as you think about what my role will be, as I think about supporting this terrific outreach to Oklahoma City. What's my role in my family about exercising sacrifice and commitment? What's the role that I'm going to have in expressing faith and love to the community around? And I'll tell you, when you figure out that, you've cracked the code. You just win. Jesus met blind guys all the time. And do you know what he always asked them? These 3 questions. What do you want? I guess that was 4 words. It would keep them hanging. But it was 4 words. What do you want? And I would ask you that of your faith, of your family, of your role. Like, what do you want to be remembered for? And I know for me, I want to be remembered for having been available to people, to actually be engaged in their lives. And I wouldn't want them to know about me, because everybody knows what you did, you get a little golf clap here on earth. But if you keep it a secret, you just do amazing, incredible things with tremendous love and sacrifice, these are going to be the things we'll talk about forever. So do that. Focus and say, what is it that I want to be remembered for? What do I want? And what I want is a life filled with purpose, with love, and with availability. And now, why don't you try this experiment? Just don't send anybody to voicemail for a week. Be that available. Loving people the way that Jesus did means a life full of constant interruptions. Get interrupted. See what happens along the way. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to just change, you're going to grow. And I think that's what we want for people that are in difficult straits. Not that they would just have a change in their circumstances, but they would grow into the people that God would have them be. And I think God wants the same thing from you and I. That we would continue to grow into the people. And what that growth always entails is to get in a little bit a difficult circumstance, to do things that are beyond what sometimes you feel comfortable to do, to exercise that generosity muscle. It's a little scary. I get it in uncertain times, but I'm telling you, I don't know. That's where the best stories come. Listen for the click. And if you hear the click, and this is part of it, I know that the rescue mission is going to be really, really grateful. And in fact, they'll be able to touch so many lives, and it's because of you. You guys, thank you. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for loving people the way that Jesus did. These are going to be the stories that you tell for eternity around the campfire. You're going to meet somebody, and somebody's going to come up and say, hey, you don't know me, but I was a person that was touched because you did this, and you did that, and you did this. And I just think that's beautiful. It's not about these works to earn God's approval. He's already nuts about you. But it's just express your faith and love. All right, you guys, God bless you. Keep loving people aggressively, sacrificially, beautifully. Thanks. So long.
The love that the staff has for the people that walk through the front doors, it's just unbelievable.
Not only does City Rescue Mission save lives, but then they employ the people that they help save.
I'm the Men's Center Director.
The Recovery Facilitator.
An intake specialist.
Maintenance Assistant. The Operations Director.
A kitchen manager.
Recovery Facilitator.
An Assistant Kitchen Manager.
Oh my gosh, they want me? They need me, they trust me. The supervisor, she fought for me to get a job. She trained me and built me up.
To have their faith in me, some might have called broken. That faith in turn helped me restore faith in myself.
I am so blessed that God has given me what He has given me from where I was to where I am now.
I've never felt so supported and loved as I do where I am now.
I'm focused on doing something different. A year from now, it's going to be really different.
I can tell someone I love you all day long, but if I don't show it, it's just a feeling. God wants you to express it.
I think the best way to show love for others is by action, not words. The most amazing thing for me was the generosity of people who will donate to the mission.
You can even say it's an unconditional love. You're not knowing where this money is going, but you know it's to a situation that is helping people.
The people that donate to City Rescue are changing lives every day. Whether it's $1 or whether it's $5,000, lives are being changed. That's love.
When you choose to look and not turn away, you're saying we matter, that you won't forget us.
The idea of loving everybody always is at the very heart of Christ. When I think about our city and pray about what God can do in our city, especially in these times, I pray for God's love to permeate our hearts in such a way that transformation may happen. Pandemics will come, recessions will come, division will come. But what if God's people said, yes, we'll obey God's greatest commandment. We'll love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and love our neighbors as ourselves. So tonight, I want you to think about loving those around you, in your home, on your street, at work, but also those in tremendous need. Our brothers and sisters who walk through our doors every day at the City Rescue Mission. One way to help is to pray daily. Another is to go. We need volunteers. We need folks who have the joy of Christ in their hearts and on their faces. And third is to give. So right now, I'm going to ask you to commit to joining our efforts to serve those in our city who desperately need the love of Jesus Christ.
By supporting the City Rescue Mission, you're taking a genuine interest in the people around you. And here's the craziest part, they won't even know your name. Say yes to this. It's a beautiful invitation. It's not because they have a need, it's because God said we have a need to actually express our faith and love. It's Galatians 5:6. The only thing that matters is our faith expressed in love. Jesus talks about leaning into love, to do things that are up and over the top, that are actually difficult, and those are the things that he celebrates. One of the things that I want to do is to send to the people that are in so much need right now, to let them know we are going to run it up on our generosity. We're going to send the signal to you that you are not alone in this, that when we're actually serving them, it's like we're serving Jesus. And every act of selfless love is a declaration of faith. It's like you're saying, this is what I really believe to be true. I think that's what we want for people that are in difficult straits. Not that they would just have a change in their circumstances, but they would grow into the people that God would have them be. And I think God wants the same thing from you and I, that we would continue to grow into the people. And what that growth always entails is to get in a little bit a difficult circumstance, to do things that are beyond what sometimes you feel comfortable to do, to exercise that generosity muscle. I know that the rescue mission is going to be really, really grateful. And in fact, they'll be able to touch so many lives, and it's because of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for tonight's question and answer conversation with Bob Goff and Oklahoma City's own Darcy Lynn, winner of America's Got Talent.
Petunia, are you excited that we get to talk to Bob Goff?
Yeah, but are you sure he isn't just here to talk to me and not you?
But Petunia, did you learn anything from his speech?
I don't know, Darcy, did you learn anything from his speech?
Well, I happened to read his book. Everybody Always?
Well, aren't you just fancy?
Okay, let's see if we can get him online here.
I got this.
Okay. Bob? Bob?
Hello.
Bob? Are you there? Bob? Are you there? Bob?
Hey!
Bob, hi!
Looking good.
Hi, Bob. I'm Petunia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Petunia. I'm so glad to meet you. Your face looks awfully familiar.
Thank you. Stop. You're too sweet.
Hi, Bob. I'm Darcy.
Good to see you. I'm glad we're talking.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Me and Petunia have so many questions, and I'm sure everyone at the City Rescue Mission would love to hear your answers. So, should we get started?
Okay, jump in.
I have to tell you the truth. I'm huge on fiction, and I've never really read anything outside of that. And your book was incredible. It was amazing. I enjoyed every page. It was so good.
Oh, I'm so honored.
It was really enjoyable, and I want to ask, how has being an author and writing books like Love Does and Everybody Always impacted the way you love in your own life?
Well, you kind of need to service what you sell, right? So you can't go around saying love everybody always and then just like only then hang out with the people that are easy to love. Yeah. So I'm just constantly, perhaps like you and maybe Petunia's having the same problems. How do you love the people that are actually a little bit prickly around the edges? How can you just be a person that's continuing to grow? Because we can all change. Change is easy. You could change your clothes, you can change your hairdo, you could cut it off, I could grow my long. But to say like I'm actually want to grow and become a more humble version of myself. And I think that's the trick.
So like what advice would you give for people wanting to live a more love-based life? Because I know I have some pretty tough people that I have to love. So
yes, the fuzzier they are, sometimes the more difficult. But I haven't given anybody advice in probably 30 years.
Really?
What I do instead is I tell people my experience. And so that might be something that could help all of us. Instead of saying, this is what I think you should do, because everybody's got an opinion. They're like Petunia's ears. Everybody's got a couple. But instead say, this is my experience. This is something that happened to me. This is something that was done to me. This is something I either worked or didn't work. And I think that's the best thing to hear.
Wow. Wise words, Bob. Wise words.
Well, coming from you, Petunia, that means a lot.
I wanted to ask, what is it like having an office in Disneyland? Because Darcy told me you do. How is that?
What I like when the place is fully occupied is that Tom Sawyer Island is a place where there's no rides to go on. There's just things to do, to run and jump and imagine. And I think that's what we can do is we can create our own kind of Tom Sawyer Island wherever we are. Walt Disney had a dreaming tree. Isn't that great?
Really?
It was an old cottonwood, and he and his sister Ruth would go to the dreaming tree and they would dream big dreams, not just for themselves, but for the people they loved. And I think the best way to create a Tom Sawyer Island where you are, find a dreaming tree and dream some dreams for other people. Philippians 2:20 is a verse out of the Bible and it says about taking a genuine interest in people around you. That would be like finding a tree that's worth sitting under and dreaming up what you could do to meet a need.
That's really cool. Well, me and Petunia are pretty good at imagination, as you can tell. So I really love that. Petunia, do you have?
Yeah. Bob, what is it like transitioning from, being an attorney to a speaker? Because I love audiences and my fans, so how's that?
Yeah, I don't really think of myself as a speaker. Most of the people I know are able to say words. So we're all speakers in a way. What I'm trying to do is organize my thoughts around a message that's worth telling. So there's a lot of people talking about things that aren't worth telling. to just say what I want to do is organize the things that are around me, around things that are worth saying, that's worth spending a little bit of time on. I was on we have a horse place, and there's loads and loads of horses there. And I got on this one particular horse 2 days ago, and I threw my leg over the horse, and this horse I've never been on before, it took off running. And I was on the top of this thing, and my like ankles were going over my ears. I mean, and then it was bucking while it was running. And so I landed on my head. I just bailed off of this thing. And the thing, Petunia, that's kind of crazy is that when the people with me asked me if I was okay, I said yes. I just bounced to my feet, and they knew I was lying. I knew I was lying, but I had to think about that for a second. I wonder why I did that. It was really, I just didn't want somebody to know that I was injured. So the best speakers, the people that communicate ideas, usually do those with authenticity. They can actually tell the truth. And then to say, hey, give me, I'm not going to remain injured, but just give me a minute here because I just got my bell rung. And there's something beautiful about that.
What are some examples of how we can express love? Because I know in your book you talked about agreeing with Jesus, but actually going out and doing things like Jesus is really hard. So.
Yeah, agreeing with Jesus is for rookies, and he doesn't actually want you to. I asked him, and it's Matthew 25. There's a lot of people that thought they were sheep. They're actually goats that were agreeing with him. Hey, if we'd only knew that you were the one that was hungry, if we only knew, we would have like totally hooked you up. That would be somebody who's agreeing with the idea. I'm all for it. But then realizing that the people in front of us are actually Jesus, that's the hard part. Because they don't look like Jesus. They don't talk like Jesus because he doesn't use some of that language. But to actually move towards expressing your faith and love.
It seems like, of course, you're filled with lots and lots of joy. Are there times you're not? Because I feel like you're a very positive person, but I'm sure there's times where you're just like,
Yeah, I'm a generally upbeat person, but I get sad too. One thing that's kind of interesting that not a lot of people know about me is I get super lonely. Isn't that crazy? So I'll fly across the country to Orlando to speak at an event, and then rather than driving 1 hour to go to the next event the next day, I'll get on an airplane and I'll fly across the United States just to be with my wife for the evening. Wow. So one of the things that you can do is to know that we have all a range of emotions. Because if we're not honest with ourselves and honest with the people around us, then we actually can't be authentic. We become so to speak, like a puppet. Like we actually aren't the real thing, but we're acting like the real thing, not pointing any fingers. But I want to say that we want to be the most authentic version of ourselves. And that's the best gift. You want to dazzle God, go be you.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do this. It's going to be fun. Bob, what would you say to the clients at City Rescue Mission?
I would say to everybody there, whatever capacity, we're all physicians and we're all patients. We're all part of this. You can do something that's helpful for me. I might be able to do something that's helpful for you, but we don't go in having an agenda for what we're going to do for somebody else. So I would say for the people that are clients of the rescue mission, they just have no agenda other than to love each other and just be fully present.
Petunia, do you have any more questions for Bob?
Well, Bob, we know that you give your phone number out in the book. Can I call you if I ever have any boy problems?
Totally. Yeah.
Great. I really need Darcy's no
gives
help.
you a problem, like they say, the thing about Petunia is that Petunia does not have eyebrows. They say what? Give me a call if somebody says something that hurts your feelings, and then we'll straighten them out.
Okay, great. I'll be calling you, Bob. I'll be calling you.
Come on. I'm counting on it. So I'm so honored to be talking to you guys. Thank you for making some time.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Bye. Wow, that was so fun talking to Bob.
I know, right? You know what? What? It's time. For what? To sing.
Oh, okay. Well, how about we bring Oscar out here too? Ugh.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's hit it.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and lock it on me? No! Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song. I will try not to sing out of key. Whoa, I get by with little help from my friends. Yeah, I get by with little help from my friends. Hey, get by with little help from my friends. You know, Petunia, I love being friends with you. Really? Me too. Do you need anybody? I want somebody to love. Could it be anybody? Oh, I want somebody. Hey, come on. Oh, somebody. Somebody. Yeah. I get by with a little help from my friends. All I need to do is get by. Gonna try with a little help from my. Take it home, Oscar. Friends. Thank you, Oklahoma City. We love you. Bye.
As this evening comes to a close, I want to personally thank you for taking the time to support those who need our love across our city. During these times, there are so many ways to get involved with City Rescue Mission. Please go to our website and sign up for our newsletter and find out ongoing ways to get involved. As we leave, we have a few more people who would like to say thank you as well.
For over 60 years, City Rescue Mission has loved our city.
That love has given hope to those who have little.
Fed those who were hungry.
Provided support to find jobs and fight addiction.
To bring hope and love to those needing it takes a community.
It takes all of us.
For 60 years, City Rescue Mission staff have been the hands and feet of Christ.
For 60 years, donors have generously given.
For 60 years, volunteers have given thousands of hours
and thousands of smiles.
And we would like to say
thank you. Thank you for giving of yourselves.
Thank you for wanting more for our city.
Thank you for seeing people who deserve love.
And I would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for loving everybody, always.
May we continue to love other people through City Rescue Mission for another 60 years.